The crystalline spires of the Velkarian palace stretched toward the violet sky, their surfaces reflecting the light of 3 distant suns. Ilara Wynn moved through the corridors with practiced silence, her cleaning supplies clutched against her chest. She had served in the alien royal court for 2 standard years now, ever since humanity had signed the integration accord with the Velkarian Empire. Most humans worked in the outer colonies, but Ilara had been selected for palace service, a dubious honor that meant she spent her days scrubbing floors that seemed to clean themselves and polishing walls made of living crystal. The Velkarians barely noticed her presence. To them, she was just another lesser species, fortunate enough to bask in their glory. Prince Kael'thar was different, though. The heir to the Velkarian throne had actually spoken to her once, his luminescent silver eyes studying her with something that might have been curiosity. His scaled skin shimmered with an iridescent blue-green hue, and the neural crest that crowned his elegant head marked him as royalty. Like all Velkarian nobles, he was bonded to a star drake, a creature of pure energy and ancient power that could manifest in physical form at will. Ilara had been warned never to approach the drakes. They were temperamental, fiercely protective, and considered humans to be little more than amusing pets. That morning, as she polished the obsidian floor of the Hall of Starlight, she heard the distinctive hum that preceded a drake's materialization. She froze, keeping her eyes downcast as protocol demanded. The air shimmered, and Prince Kael'thar's drake Velsharix coalesced into being, a magnificent creature of flowing energy that resembled Earth's ancient dragons, but composed of pure stellar plasma contained within a translucent membrane. Continue your work. Human. Prince Kael'thar's voice echoed through the hall. Velsharix is merely restless. Ilara bowed and returned to her polishing, acutely aware of the drake circling overhead. Its presence made the air taste of ozone and distant nebulae. She had almost finished the section when her cloth caught on a loose tile. As she knelt to examine it, Velsharix descended without warning. The drake's head snaked toward her, its eyes, miniature stars, fixed on her face. Ilara remained perfectly still, remembering her training. Do not run, do not make eye contact, do not— Pain exploded in her shoulder as Velsharix's jaws closed around her. She gasped but did not scream. The drake released her immediately, recoiling as if burned. A sound like stellar wind filled the hall. The drake was keening in distress. Velsharix. Prince Kael'thar rushed forward, his hand outstretched toward his bonded companion. But the drake was writhing in the air, its form flickering between solid and energy states. What have you done, human? Nothing, Your Highness. Ilara clutched her wounded shoulder, feeling warm blood seep between her fingers. I didn't move, I swear. The prince's eyes widened as he looked at her blood. That color. Why is your blood that color? It's red, Your Highness. Human blood is red. Impossible. Prince Kael'thar stepped closer, his usual composure cracking. Our records indicate human blood is colorless, nearly transparent. That was part of the biological assessment that classified your species as non-sentient labor stock. Ilara stared at him, shock overriding protocol. Non-sentient? We're fully sentient, and our blood has always been red. But even as she spoke, understanding dawned. The integration accord had been negotiated by the colonial administration, a corrupt bureaucracy that had sold humanity's freedom for positions of petty power. They had deliberately falsified the biological data, presenting humans as convenient, disposable workers rather than equals. Velsharix's keening intensified. The drake began circling Ilara, its stellar eyes fixed on her wound. Then it did something unprecedented. It lowered its great head and touched its nose to her injury. Energy flowed from the drake into her body, and Ilara felt her cellular structure shift. No, not shift. Awaken. Images flooded her mind. She saw Earth as it had been millennia ago, when humanity had first encountered the ancient race that would become the Velkarians. She saw her ancestors walking among the stars, not as subjects but as partners. She saw the truth that had been buried by those who sought to profit from humanity's subjugation. Humans were not lessers, they were sleepers. By the eternal suns, Prince Kael'thar whispered, watching as patterns of light spread across Ilara's skin. She carries the progenitor's mark. Velsharix recognized it. That's why he bit her, to test, to confirm. Ilara's wound sealed itself, but the change continued. Her eyes began to glow with an inner light. Her mind expanded, accessing neural pathways that evolution had locked away eons ago. She was not transforming into something new. She was remembering what humanity had always been. Your species was neutered, the prince said softly, horror in his voice. By your own people for profit. The biological restrictions were introduced into your genetic code generations ago, making you appear primitive. The colonial administrators knew this. They've been slowly harvesting the progenitor potential from your people for centuries. Then why didn't we remember? Elara asked, her voice now carrying harmonics that made the crystal walls resonate. Because they made you forget. But Vel'Sharix has undone their work, at least in you. A drake's bite carries the essence of creation itself. It can unmake what should never have been made. Alarm bells began ringing throughout the palace. Guards were coming. The court would demand answers. But as Elara stood feeling power course through her veins, power that was her birthright, she smiled. What happens now, Prince Kael'thar? The prince looked at his drake, then at the human who was no longer quite so human, or perhaps was finally fully human for the first time in millennia. Now we tell the Empire the truth, that humanity's enslavement was based on a lie, that you are not servants but sleeping giants, and that one of you has just awakened. He extended his hand to her, an offer of alliance. The palace will be stunned. The entire empire will shake, but we must do this. Will you stand with me? Elara took his hand, feeling the connection form, not as servant and master, but as equals recognizing each other at last. Throughout the galaxy, in factories and farms and forgotten colonies, millions of humans continued their servitude, unaware of what they truly were. But that was about to change. I'll stand with you, she said. And when my people wake up, the universe will remember why it once feared us. Outside the hall, boots thundered on crystal floors. The old order was dying, and humanity's long sleep was ending at last.